And as we come to the second race of today's programme, watch the yellow Porsche on the inside of the third row of the grid. Number 15, Rob Gibson from Goostrey in Cheshire. Normally would be found in Formula A, but for this series running with the Formula B cars, very powerful rear-engined, rear-wheel drive, two-wheel drive Porsche of Rob Gibson. That must be the car, I think, to watch for in this race. But immediately in front of him, you can see the driver there just trying to get a bit of air circulating inside the car. That's the car with our camera in. Now closing the door, there he is. That's Ross Browning, runner-up to Roger Newbould in the British Championship 1987, and Roger Newbould is in fact on the outside of the front row in the yellow Renault. But as they leave the start line, you can see already that Gibson's making good progress on the inside, but getting boxed in, and it's Roger Newbould who goes away first into an early lead. Roger Newbould looks like Barry Squibb from Torquay, who's popped into second place. Then comes Ross Browning in third. Could be very, very hectic on this first lap with the car still with cold tyres and of course slippery conditions, and Rob Gibson, we can see, has dropped right to the back of the field. As the leaders pour through the S's, it is Roger Newbould from Barry Squibb with, it looked as though Gary Baker was making good progress too on the inside. 119 Ivan Mokes there, but as the leader comes into the Druids hairpin for the first time, it is number 34 Roger Newbould. And Ross Browning we can see in fourth place just ahead of Bob Smith. Colin Claxton in trouble there, going out onto the grass. Rob Gibson making a disastrous start, the driver whom we thought would come through and take an early lead as they come along on the knife edge. Ross Browning down there in fourth position. But we go back with the leaders as they come over the top of Hoppy Strop, and it is indeed still number 34, Roger Newbould from Harrogate in Yorkshire. Voted by the members of the Rallycross Trust as the driver of the year this year. It's certainly been a fine year for him, and as we can see, Ross Browning still having to content himself with fourth place as they come down out of Hoppy Strop, down into the chicane, through the chicane, and up the hill goes number 34, Roger Newbould, with the mid-engined, forward-powered Renault 5. It's Barry Squibb there in second place, chasing hard on him. Those two some way clear of Gary Baker in third place, with Ross trying to come through on the inside. Baker getting a bit crossed up, but there's no way that Ross can get through there. It is still very, very slippery out here at Brands Hatch this afternoon, as these cars are aptly demonstrating to you, and this is the point where traction is most difficult to get, coming up Halewood Hill out of the very tight S's at the bottom. And here we have the leaders there around the Druids hairpin, still headed by Roger Newbould from Barry Squibb, Gary Baker from Tunbridge, then comes Ross Browning. Behind him we have 119 Ivan Mokes, the leaders already through Langley's Gap, coming along onto the knife edge, and it's still Barry Squibb. I don't know how Ross can see where to go, but he's certainly picking his way through over the top of Hoppy Strop as the leaders come down. And in fact, Barry Squibb might be getting a little bit closer to Roger Newbould at the moment. Ross Browning has in fact now got Ivan Mokes hard on his heels, but the leaders way down into the chicane as the rest of the field come through. Roger Newbould, British Formula B champion of 1987, away through the chicane, well in command of the situation. There he goes, round paddock, and undoubtedly Squibby getting a little bit closer. Barry Squibb, the hotelier from Torquay, the rear-wheel drive Mark III Ford Escort, getting closer. Gary Baker going with him, and the three leading cars closing up as they go down into the S's, through the S's for the last time, about to accelerate up Halewood Hill, and Baker trying to get through on the inside there of Squibby, but Squibby's not having it. In fact, finds a little bit more traction up the hill to pull away from the Tunbridge driver. Still hasn't found enough power to get close enough to challenge Roger Newbould, and we've still got Ross Browning there in fourth place. Ross Browning fourth, getting a tail sideways, still under a lot of pressure from Ivan Mokes. But as they come along towards the checkered flag, it's Roger Newbould dominating this one with the mid-engine Renault 5 to win from Barry Squibb second place, Gary Baker in third.